Very good morning, friends. Meeting again in the session of Materia Medica. And today we're going to learn one important remedy, that is the Lobelia Inflata. It is an Indian tobacco. This remedy is prepared from specifically from Indian tobacco. Tabacum is also a remedy prepared from tobacco, but there are little bit difference, and that's why this Indian tobacco is explained by the name of Lobelia Inflata. This remedy is a very useful remedy in chronic bronchitis cases. So when there are again the secretions are there in the chest, lot of secretions like antimetat. It looks like to be very close to antimetat. There is rattling, there is breathless sensation, but very typical modality is there. Whatever may be the condition, patient feels better by rapid walking. That is one important feature where you can find it out. This remedy is very close to ipecac, antimetat, and having action on pneumogastric nerve. It is again a depressant action like antimetartaricum. In ipecac, it is a irritating action, stimulating action is there. So Lobelia inflata in that way goes very close to the antimetartaricum. Second important indication for which it is used is the morning sickness, pregnancy vomiting, nausea and vomiting of the pregnancy. This is a very important remedy, and here it shows very typical profuse salivation, very profuse salivation and nausea which develops over there is the characteristic of it. Third important thing for which I used to use this remedy is again for the migraine like headache or gastric headaches. So, acid peptic trouble associated with a severe type of headache, very characteristic of this remedy, associated with typical nausea, weakness, prostration, cold sweating, very profuse sweat, specifically on head, and all those things they are aggravated by tobacco or tobacco smoke. That is characteristic of this. So generally, a remedy having very specific action on this thing, at the same time, it has action on the heart also. There is typical feeling of palpitation, and sometimes there is feeling as if heart has stopped beating, and a pain deep inside the heart, specifically at the apex area, at the base area. That is the characteristic of this remedy. So why not to learn this wonderful remedy in fourth year syllabus as well as useful in practice from Allen's notes. So open your Allen's notes. We'll learn sentence by sentence. And again, Allen has mentioned very typical constitution in first line. So Lobelia inflata, it is Indian tobacco. It is Lobelia C. Best adapted to the persons of light hair, blue eyes, fair complexion, and inclined to be generally fleshy. So these are the persons who are little bit obese, having typical blue eyes, the fair complexion, very characteristic of this remedy with the light hair. The gastric derangements are there. There is a extreme nausea and vomiting, morning sickness. See, indications in the first paragraph, he defines where exactly the remedy will going to work. So this remedy is very useful in gastric derangements of specifically in pregnancy, the morning sickness. There is very severe nausea and vomiting. Patient, even at the sight and smell, the patient gets nausea and vomiting. There is spasmodic asthma. Pertussis. Pertussis is nothing but the whooping cough. Dangya kokla, we used to call it. It is very typical where the dry cough, irritating cough, which happens to be there continuously. Pertussis with dyspnea, threatening suffocation. So it leading towards a very severe suffocation. Breathlessness is very marked. So wonderful remedy for asthma, specifically irritation in the throat, and it is because of the action on the pneumogastric nerve, and patient is associated with nausea and vomiting. Very close to ipecac, this remedy is there. So antimetat and ipecac, where the action is on pneumogastric nerve, both remedies work. Headache. Headache is gastric with nausea and vomiting. Great prostration. So whenever there is headache associated with nausea, associated with the vomiting, and there is very severe prostration. Prostration means exhaustion followed by some illness. It's called as a prostration. So there is a headache associated with prostration. So because of headache, patient is prostrated. Headache following intoxication. So patient gets very typical toxic feeling, and thereafter he started getting the headache because of eating something or because of some drinking something. Headache aggravated afternoon until midnight. Characteristic modality starts in the afternoon and it remains till patient sleeps at night. Headache with sudden pallor with profuse sweat. Profuse sweating is one more important thing which you used to get in this remedy. Sweating is there with the camphor, sweating is there with the veratrum album, sweating is there with the arsenic album, and this sweating is associated with vomiting. So sweating is very characteristic, like tobacco. Headache is aggravated by tobacco, and headache is aggravated by tobacco smoke. So tobacco in any form generally aggravates the complaints of this remedy, even though this remedy is prepared from the same source. Vomiting, vomiting with face but with cold sweat. So see, vomiting associated with severe sweating on face, severe sweating on head, vomiting of pregnancy, vomiting with profuse salivation, lot of salivation from the mouth, like lactic acid. This is one more remedy we can think. Lactic acid, it is associated. It is with the diabetes mellitus. Such type of thing is there. Vomiting at nights with like mercurius. So salivation specifically at night is the mercurius. uh, Vomiting chronic with good appetite, with nausea, profuse sweat, and marked prostration. It is written in bold, and this is the theme of the remedy. Chronic vomiting. Patient is vomiting since long time, and it is associated with appetite good. Patient eats a lot, but still he vomits. There is tremendous nausea. There is tremendous profuse sweating, specifically on face, specifically on head, and there is marked prostration. So this is very close to the veratrum also. This is very close to the carbovage also. This is very close to the arsenic album also. But one important thing which you can get over there, the appetite is good. Second important thing, it is persistent. It is chronic, not acute like arsenic album, not acute like a camphor or veratrum album or carbovage. The faintness, weakness, and an indescribable feeling at the epigastrium from excessive use of tea and tobacco. So there is faintness, there is a weakness, and indescribable feeling. Patient is not able to describe what is happening. The words cannot express, but a patient is feeling something wrong with his stomach, with his abdomen, and that typical feeling which you used to get in this Lobelia Inflata. And patient is continuously having a faint feeling, or there is tea and tobacco. Stimulants aggravate the complaint. That is one more feature of the Lobelia Inflata. Urine, urine of a deep orange red color, copious red sediment. So it is reddish urine, generally found to be looks like a UTI, or there is hematuria, and it is associated with red sediment like lycopodium, like sarsaparilla. Dyspnea from constriction of the middle of chest, the typical feeling of the angina like pains. So cactus, like cactus, there is a this typical feeling which happens to be there. Then dyspnea is aggravated with every labor pain. So it is also during the pregnancy when there is a dyspnea feeling. It is one important remedy, seems to neutralize the pains. Dyspnea aggravated by exposure to the cold, aggravated by slightest exertion. So Coldness aggravates. Exposure to any type of cold, it aggravates. Slightest exertion aggravates. Going up and down stairs aggravates, like ipecac. So, see, action is very close to the ipecac. Action is very close to the antimptad. But in antimptad, rattling is more marked. Very tremendous rattling or saturation of cup inside the chest is there with antimptad auricle. Sensation of congestion, pressure, or wet in chest, as if blood from extremities was filling it, and ameliorated by rapid walking. So there is a severe congestion in the chest. Patient feels congested, he feels breathless, he feels dyspneic, as if something is feeling over there. And when he walks rapidly, he feels better. A contradictory modality, but which is present over there. Sepia, asthma better by dancing, a contradictory modality, but which is there. That's why it's sepia. So here, Lobelia is also having this typical contradictory modality, but it is very useful remedy in such cases. Sensation as if heart would stand still, deep-seated pain at the base of the heart. When it is at the apex of the heart, see, sites are very important. The lilium tigrinum, it is pain deep-seated at the apex of the heart. Here it is at the base of the heart. So see, so much minute differentiation is mentioned in homeopathy. We can find all those things in homeopathy, very important thing. So we can find it out exact remedy on the basis of these specific indications. So nausea, vomiting with of pregnancy, associated with very severe sweating on face, typical things. And there is even a patient cannot tolerate the sight or smell of food, even tobacco. Sacrum, there is extreme sensitiveness, cannot bear the slightest touch, even of a soft pillow. Sits leaning forward to avoid contact with the clothes. So sensitive sacral area, very sensitive. Patient feels absolutely sensitive and he cannot sit properly because if it touches the part gets touched, it is the pain is there. Patient wants to sit with bending forward. Relationship, compare the antimptat. Already I have discussed antimptat. It is having similar action on pneumogastric nerve, but in antimptat there is a tremendous rattling of chest which you used to get over there. Death rattle, the word we used to use in antimptat. Arsenic is very close associate for the gastroenteritis with very much sweating, but arsenic album has very typical thirst for sips of water frequently. Arsenic in general feels better by warmth. Ipecac very close associated, having the action of pneumogastric nerve, but irritating action of pneumogastric nerve. Already I have discussed that in Ipecac the curve develops within a day and there is a rattling, there is associated nausea, there is clean tongue, there is thirstlessness. Those are very typical of the Ipecac. Tabacum again having very close association. The even remedy from the same product from a different country. Its species little bit difference, and that's why we used to get differences. Otherwise, both the remedies are having very close relationship. Veratrum already we have discussed, very close associated with the nausea and vomiting, with sweating and tremendous sweating, cold sweating on the face, head. Veratrum also has gastroenteritis. In veratrum, it is cholera-like symptoms. And veratrum, we have many features. Veratrum is having the cholera-like symptoms before and during menses. That is characteristic of the veratrum album. Relationship. After relationship, the modality, general modalities, aggravation by slight motion, aggravation by touch, aggravation by cold. These are the general modalities. Amelioration, the chest pain by walking rapidly. So a contradictory, very characteristic modality. The patient feels better by rapid walking, and that is the chest pain feels better by walking. That is characteristic. The last indication which he mentions, for the bad effects of drunkenness in people with light hair, blue and grey eyes, florid complexion, corpulent, Lobelia bears the same relation that Naxomica does to persons of opposite temperament. So Naxomica is also good remedy for drunkenness, but Nux is quite active. Nux has very typical, they are lean thin. Here it is the corpulent constitution. Constitution is different. But remedy, Nux is ambitious persons, very active, zealous. Here the person is opposite, corpulent, obese, blue eyes, fair complexion, but having a typical bad effects of drunkenness. So Naxomica and Lobelia Inflata, these are very important remedies to tackle the situation. And second remedy, if you want to stop the drinking habit of the person, it is always better to use the Quercus mother tincture associated with that. This remedy, Lobelia Inflata, I used to use in 30 generally or 12C potency. Good results you can get because this remedy is very active in crude form also. It produces its fissures. And that's why Lobelia Inflata is one of the important remedy in our day-to-day practice. And from exam point of view, for the fourth year, very important remedy asked in GI complaints, it is asked in respiratory complaints, even in heart complaints, and even morning sickness. So one should not forget Lobelia and Plata. So that's all for today. Thank you. And if we'll get the time, we'll meet with some other video. Thank you.